In this vlog, I'll be going over the 5 degrees of pod layer practice. Now, this is something that I have gone over before in earlier iterations, and I've even done this iteration not too long ago, and I think that Mitchell even broke it down fairly well on the Facebook. I haven't looked at it completely, but it looks like he has an understanding of it. But there was confusion people were having on exactly what goes where. So I'll try to clarify here as best I can, but this shouldn't take too long. Okay, so the first degree is the things that you can actually see topographically. It starts with the cues to some degree, then includes things like how various cues clump together, whatever that means as far as like alchemy or under the hood. I mean, it's just the fact that they are clumping up in some kind of manner, repeating manner, and then like the story. The mojo journalism, things going on in careers. Again, not getting anything under the hood, but simply noting that people of certain kinds of physiological cue, aesthetic quality categories that you can note to some degree are showing up, showing with certain groupings and showing up in certain career bubbles. And along with career bubbles and these other things is the stories. You're basically seeing the story of humans in general and the fact that there are cues of some kind going on there that you can see on the surface. Second degree is what's under the hood, human design, powers, energy fields, and so on. Speculation of what is causing what is being observed in the first degree of practice. Third degree is the unconscious, so it's not just under the hood, so it is out of sight, and you have to see trying to make a connection between what is on the surface and what may be underneath, but this is going into the unconscious of what is underneath. Then past that, the fourth degree, which is the deep unconscious, and that gets into spirit forming and things of that nature, and what the processes are doing that are being speculated on when they get to their deepest, most abstract, metaphorical form. And the fifth degree is for everything beyond that. Things that there is just not much to speculate on in general, but people may want to and try to combine that with things that are firmer or they have better speculations on or not, and they can sort of take it whatever direction they would like. So it may be part of pod layer for some people, but not others. It may connect up to certain earlier practices, maybe not. So that is sort of like the customized, do it as you want, and no one really knows the answers at all here. There's really nothing but very, very uneducated speculation by everyone. Everyone has that status at the fifth degree of pod layer practice, and so everyone has to conduct themselves accordingly. But there are lots of interesting subjects that fall there, like what happens after life after death, or how do you want to do your dietary practice, or how do you want to meditate, where do you want to live, how do you want to organize your house, is feng shui and get involved in this? So there's nothing really firm there, but doesn't mean there's a lot of interesting things going on that may or may not be connected to things earlier in the pod layer practice as far as progression of theory. Now, something that came up on Facebook is, for example, in the first degree, there are levels in there. And so for right now, this is kind of figuring out as I go along, is subdividing them to like quarter, half, 3/4, and full. So just going off the first degree, which is the one I've thought about this much, the other ones, their gradation I can get to in the future if needed. But for the first one, which seems to be an area that most people really find themselves in and trying to work through or see there's something there of merit, worthwhile of their time. So like a quarter degree could be, you can see the phenomenon somewhat, something about it. You're seeing physiological cue patterns of some kind that looks like it may mean something, but you're not saying anything more than that. Just you can see some cues, aesthetic, and they look like they're repeating in some way, and that may or may not mean something, but it is worthwhile to keep pulling at that thread. That's a quarter degree. A half degree might be where you can see the edges of the quality categories and the fact they are finite and have some sort of balanced mathematical structure that makes them up. That would be like half a degree. 3/4 degree could be that these things are clumping together in certain groupings, like social alchemy. Not necessarily saying what's going under the hood, that's in second degree, simply that the aesthetic quality of categories are grouping up in certain ways that shows a repeating pattern of attraction in some way. What exactly means, that's for deeper discussions. And then story. mojo journalism, the idea that these physiological cues that you're seeing that are repeating, so some cues to some degree in some people, but you're able to actually see this is showing up in all the bubbles of activity that humans are doing. All different career bubbles and so forth, all different countries. Whatever I can see that it is showing up widespread. It is, to whatever degree I can see stuff, I'm seeing that pretty much everywhere, that degree of it. So I can see VIs, for example, I can see that everywhere. So at least that much of it is somehow a signifier or an influencer in whatever is going on that humans are doing. Again, not getting under the hood at all, simply noting its presence, and that its presence is matching up, like I said, say 3/4 of a degree, is it's matching up with certain clustering, and that it's matching up with certain careers and countries and so forth. The phenomenon that you can see, whatever it is, does go that far. That to me takes it to where, at least, and this is to me is like a full degree upon their practice, it's real, it's a pattern, and it is important to some degree to figure out more about it. That's a full first degree. Now there may be more degrees in the future, but one thing that is important to note is that, because some people were actually joking around on Facebook about, is there going to be like a 7th, 8th, 9th degree? That actually doesn't show an understanding of how this works, the actual principle of it, because it's more expanding in both directions while staying within 2 poles. Because early in Podler, it was pretty much simple theory, advanced theory. And then that got expanded to advanced theory. We took out the really speculative stuff, super spiritual, area, and made that its own thing. So it was basic theory, advanced theory, and beyond. So that was 3. And then it got expanded to where the advanced theory got separated between the spiritual level and the unconscious. Both are higher than basic stuff, but there's a difference there. And then the first degree got expanded or separated out between 2 elements that were in there, which is the on the surface stuff and what is under the hood. So it's always been the same things in the Podler theory, but it got, just all the theory, then basic advanced and beyond, and then the basic got spread into 2, and the advanced got spread into 2, and now we're here at 5. So if there are more in the future, it's not any degrees being added on. That's never happened. What has happened is that the overall understanding of the theory has been spread out and stratified, broken up into gradations. And perhaps more gradations will be required in the future, and so maybe there'll be more degrees or more sub-degrees, like quarter, maybe we'll go down to an 1/8 as needed. But all that is just finally slicing the same spectrum of terrain that Podler theory was covering from the beginning. So hope that helps, and yeah, more to follow.